Fine.
Oh, we're live. Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cover One Roundup here live on the Cover One YouTube channel each and every Monday night, or subsequently at 7 p.m. or subsequently wherever you listen to your podcasts. If I'm a little disheveled right now, if it's coming off as though I just got into this StreamYard podcast room 3 seconds before we went live, that's because that's exactly what happened. We'll get into the reasons why momentarily. But we're here to do the last mock draft. You know why you're here. You read the you read the headline, you read all the stuff, and also it's a Buffalo Bills podcast 4 days before the 2023 NFL draft. Most of them from now, it has been for the last week at least, and then most of them from at least a week ago until Thursday. You're going to get your last mock draft. So that's what we're doing today. So thank you all for joining me. And speaking of thank you for joining me, David Fox is joining me here today. David, how are you?
I'm doing well, Kyle. How are you?
We'll get into that after I introduce our other guest. It's from the Going Deep podcast, Mike Bundt. Mike, how are you? And thanks for joining.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So as you guys can see, let me fix my camera. We're having a day here, folks. So I have a nice green tee, a turtleneck, and a blazer, right? Because I got to class up the joint here on the Cover One Roundup. It's our last mock draft. You got to be classy. And I was late because I was having turtleneck issues. I could not get the turtleneck. Well, which you can't even see because I positioned my camera in such a way that the turtleneck's not really showing. Could not get the turtleneck to stay in the position in which a turtleneck should stay. So that's the big issue for me today. But we figured it out. The chat's going crazy about my turtleneck.
That is a Steve Jobs ass excuse, man.
Oh, you're gonna. I have an out. This is what everyone cares about. This is what everyone's tuning in for. I have an outfit that I wear most times I leave my house and go out in social settings. It's just a black turtleneck and a pair of jeans. And I'm fixing my camera. I call myself Steve Jobless. It's my Steve Jobless outfit. Roy Collins, right? 70s turtleneck. The people love the turtleneck. I'm telling you. The first NFL GM that wears a turtleneck during the draft, and the first coach or the next coach that wears a suit, that's the tandem that is going to win a Super Bowl. You need a suit-wearing coach, and you need a turtleneck-wearing GM, and that's how you win Super Bowls. And that's what we're trying to do today, is build a Super Bowl roster out of this Buffalo Bills roster through traversing the 7 rounds of the NFL draft. Bills Mafia writes, going to be great when the Packers finish with a better record than the Jets this season. See, this is something that needs to be talked about.
He said it.
That is funny. He's obviously referring to the Aaron Rodgers trade. We are using PFF's mock draft simulator here to take over the Buffalo Bills and do these 7 rounds. I don't know if the mock draft simulator has updated between like 3 p.m. or whenever the trade happened.
It's 2 spots. They're both green-based teams. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
It doesn't matter. So again, I don't really think I have to get into anything more regarding the mock draft. But we should get into our sponsors. That is something that we should do before we actually get into the mock, because that's what everyone's here for. So this show and Cover One in general are brought to you by BetUS, who we will hear about from now via Greg Thompson, assuming I can find the video.
Hey guys, Cover One is excited to announce our new partnership with BetUS. BetUS has live wagering on all major games, the best betting variety in the business, and an easy deposit and withdrawal process with the fastest payouts in the industry. Our loyal Cover One fans get a choice between 2 exclusive offers, either a 125% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,500 or a free $50 bet with no deposit required. Just use promo code COVER1 on the links provided in the show description below. BetUS, where the game begins.
Did not mean to show that. Thank you, Greg. Also, this show, in addition to BetUS, this show and Cover One in general are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. David, can you tell us a little bit about Underdog, or as much as you'd like? Actually, I don't care.
Sure. I mean, it's not like they pay us or anything. If you did get to draft Josh Allen in your home league last year, good for you. If you didn't, well, are you like me and just dumb, or are you like me and just unlucky? If you were both, don't worry about it, because with Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em contest, you can win money predicting if Josh Allen will go over his yard totals, his touchdowns, completions, and more. If you think Allen to Diggs is going to go well this week, or if you think Diggs is going to be on another team because he wants out, that's not what we're saying. That's not an official statement. You can put them both in your Pick'em and predict up to 5 different over-unders correctly to win 20 times your original money. If you use the promo code COVER1, that's the number 1, when signing up to make your first deposit, Underdog will match that deposit up to $100. That is 100 free US dollars in free play if you use promo code COVER1. Sign up today and start winning.
Thank you, Underdog. And thank you all who are going crazy in the chat right now. Electric chat. We got Douglas Masters. What we really want to know is, where is the sign similar to last year's Breece Hall no matter what sign? I did not print out any JPEGs of my favorite prospect for this year, though I should have. There was no player with a name that I can make a pun out of, such as we're going to turn this Breece Hall into a Breece Home. I couldn't do that this year, though. I am crazy about Jordan Addison, as I've made clear in this draft. He is my no matter what player. A player who, if he's on the board at 27, we're taking him. Sorry, guys. We might even have to trade up to get him. As I tweeted earlier, Operation Acquire Addison. Bring him home. That is what I want to do. And there's a few other things that we'll discuss, I'm sure, when the time comes. But we'll go to Mike first before we actually launch this mock draft. What is your strategy entering? Is there a player that you want more than anyone else? Is there is it just how the board falls, or is it I'd rather defensive interior first, or we need a linebacker? What's your strategy here as we get started?
I'm very big on just how the board falls, but if you had to ask me what's your favorite possibility that could happen, I'm kind of like you, Kyle. I want a wide receiver in the first round at 27. Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison. Those are the two guys I'm really hoping fall to the Bills. I don't want to see them trade up. If that doesn't work out, I'm open to Darnell Wright if he can fall, Mozzie Smith at D tackle. So there's a lot of options I'm open to. The one thing I'm probably most closed off to at this point is I really don't want to see the Bills take one of those linebackers at 27 overall. I think they're solid players, but they can be had in the second round. Be patient. Don't overreach to get one of the 3 good linebackers that I think the Bills could target.
David, what's your strat?
A lot like Mike's, you gotta just let the board fall where it's gonna fall. It's because there's not a ton of super standout players at the top. It creates a lot of uncertainty for how the rest of the board is gonna fall. You have an idea of who's gonna go in the top 15, generally speaking, but it could be where all 4 quarterbacks are gone, and that sort of pushes some guys down. Maybe another quarterback falls later, whether that's CJ Stroud or maybe Will Levis, whoever it is. There's a lot of uncertainty. And for the Bills, you could argue that linebacker is their biggest need, but they haven't necessarily always taken the biggest need, right? I mean, you could have looked at cornerback last year and said, okay, this is a position that they could upgrade, obviously, especially when Levi Wallace left. But you also could have, I would have believed them if they had just gone into the season with Dane Jackson. But that would have also meant that Trey White was going to come back a lot sooner than he actually did, and that didn't happen. But it's all about just what's available at the board. What do you feel comfortable with? What do you feel comfortable, potentially getting later, right? Because like Mike said, the linebackers, there's a strong possibility where the top couple of linebackers are going to be available in the second round. And if you can trade up into those first couple of spots to get them, that's fine. But in terms of getting a first round talent and somebody that you just cannot get on day 2, you gotta get that guy. You can't sit there and say, well, maybe not. You gotta say, listen, this is a guy who's not going to be available to us if we want him again. So
you got to get your guys. So I've kind of here, I'll put the PFF mock draft simulator on the screen here. I've run a couple today, just in my free time throughout the day. I've just pulled it up just to kind of get a feel for what potentially we could encounter, what we could run into here as we do this live for 50 people. What a turnout. Thank you all for watching again. But yeah, I've just run a couple through. I've had a couple of scenarios that I'm not going to spoil anything, right? I'm sure people watching have done their own and kind of have an idea for what's going to be available for the Bills at 27. But I've had a couple that I've really liked, which given what I said at the top of the show, who I want, you can tell what happened, that the Bills, I liked my pick at 27. I've also had a couple where had I to acquire the player that I wanted, I would have had to have moved up 8 or 9 spots. So like it really is, there is a lot of randomness to this, but that's kind of how the NFL draft goes. And I do generally agree with what you guys are saying here, just in terms of like linebackers in general. Like, look, I'm going to be hard pressed to take a Jack Campbell or a Drew Sanders at 27, even though like, look, I understand the rationale of like, it's the end of the first round. And just the margin between a late first round grade or an early second round grade, it's so marginal. And just like, it really doesn't matter if you have a second round grade on a guy that you're taking at 27, because that's just how it goes. Maybe you don't even have 32 first round grades. Very few teams do. But just like, I also love the idea if we pass on all of them and we just take an athlete on day 3 and people are telling me in the chat, like, he has no experience at middle linebacker. The Bills wouldn't take him and play him at middle linebacker. It's like, did Tremaine Edmonds play middle linebacker before the Bills picked him at 16 and had him start at middle linebacker week 1? No, he didn't. That's why people were telling me up until 2 months ago that he should play edge. Okay. Are we ready to get started here, boys?
Tremaine Edmonds has been on the Bears for months now, and he's still haunting this podcast.
It's incredible. I'm not in tune with Bears Twitter. If anyone in chat is in tune with Bears Twitter, can you guys tell me, or even better, start the narrative already that Tremaine Edmonds should play edge in Chicago? Please. Someone infiltrate.
Ask Khalil Mack a couple years ago. This is our replacement.
Yes, he is. Bring Edgman's narrative over there. All right, let's get started. Yes, we have this. The speed can, kind of fluctuate as we go through the draft. That's the word I'm looking for. This is all just base stuff. Let's get started here. I'm going to run through the first 5 because we are not going through the first 5, or we're not trading up, not into the first 5 at least. And then we'll discuss after the first 5, just kind of get a read on what's transpired here through the first 5. So Carolina, I'll read at the end. There we go. Carolina 1 took Bryce Young. Not a surprise. CJ Stroud, despite that awful, what's that new test that everyone's talking about?
The S2 test, which, by the way, the owner for that, like the creator for that test was like, some of those scores being reported are very wrong, and a lot of it is out of context. So crazy how that happens during draft season. That's never happened before, right?
I love it. I love draft season. I love the pre-draft narrative. I love how everyone just in the last couple of weeks was like, CJ Stroud actually is a terrible human being and not a good quarterback. And also he took my lunch on the playground. Just like, I love it. Jalen Carter at 3. That's shocking. Anthony Richardson to Indy at 4. Jim Irsay's having a good old time over there in Indy. And Devin Witherspoon. Okay, that's a fun pick for Seattle. Any surprises, or can we roll through the next 5 here?
Witherspoon at 5 is a pick.
A little high. It's a little high, I think.
It's
maybe higher than I've seen. It's not bad. It's just it's
I will say that might be like the most like on brand type of Seattle pick, where it's just like, oh really, you took him? Okay.
Seattle can draft. Like,
listen, I'm not trying to talk bad about Seattle because last
Well, that's the thing. It's like they had so many drafts for so many years where it's like, oh, that's a Seattle pick. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what are you doing? And then that's what their picks looked to be like last year. And then
No,
they have
last
one
year
of the
from
craziest...
the start, last year from the start, that was a good draft. Charles Cross was a good pick. Kenneth Walker was good. The only reason people didn't like Kenneth Walker, but the only reason people didn't like Kenneth Walker getting picked to Seattle is one, because Pete Carroll just loves running the football, and people thought that they were just going to like pound the rock and whatever. And then people just wanted them to take a quarterback. And none of the quarterbacks last year were good.
Oh, you're a hater. Kenny Pickett's elite.
He was already picked.
Malik Willis is elite.
Moving on.
Sorry. Okay. Mike, anything to say, or are we rolling here?
Hey, we're rolling.
Ooh, all right. Ooh, where's my mouse? There it is. Bill's Mafia. Right. Seattle gets Witherspoon to go with Tariq Woolen. That'd be scary. Again, Tariq Woolen. What a pick that was. Again, how did he fall to the 5th round? He was a guy who people were mocking the Bills at the end of the 1st round last year. Crazy. We're rolling here. Next 5. We're actually going to slow it down a little bit. Christian Gonzalez, Will Anderson, Will Levis, Tyree Wilson. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, nothing really crazy here, as you guys can see. I'm going to read out the picks and the teams again for the audio listeners. Sorry, live chat viewers. Christian Gonzalez to Detroit at 6. Will Anderson fell to 7. Vegas would be doing backflips if they get Will Anderson at 7. Will Levis to Atlanta at 8, which is a little bit crazy.
I kind of love that. I kind of like that fit. Yeah. I like, you get to compete with Desmond Ridder, and maybe you go with Ridder just because he's been there for a year, but Levis is probably almost certainly better than Ridder, and I think with that offense and that offensive line, which has certainly improved over the last couple of years, Arthur Smith is your play caller. That could work.
See, and the thing about Will Levis is he has a historically great track record in starting quarterback competitions against not the best opposition.
So did Jalen Hurts.
Sean Clifford. Are we saying that, like, look, we've had our fair share of Tua slander on this podcast, but I'm going to go on the limb.
Justin Fields couldn't beat out Jake Fromm at Georgia.
Jake Fromm's better than Sean Clifford.
By how much, Kyle? By how much?
A wide margin.
I don't think so.
A Will Levis height margin, maybe. Will Levis puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
Will Levis is a weirdo. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about if he's a weirdo or not.
Character concerns.
He eats
That's a huge character concern. If you're putting mayo in your coffee, what's wrong?
He eats a banana with the peel on it. I get it. He's a weirdo, but like, if the dude can ball, he can ball.
He's a quarterback. He's a leader. You do not want that type of leadership infiltrating your culture. That could mess up your entire team.
Yeah.
All right. We're moving on here. I'm getting hot.
No,
and it's not even my pick. It's freaking Atlanta. Come on.
Look, regarding bananas in general, I'm open to new ideas just because I do kind of try to push the boundaries regarding.
What the hell does that mean?
You have to say Chris is exactly right in his comment right there.
Exactly. What did I get myself into? That is very true. No, so I like to cook. I've often chopped garlic and then eaten a banana immediately after, and like I can kind of still smell garlic while I'm eating a banana, and I'm like, that kind of goes with each other. So like, part of me thinks that a garlic banana sauce wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Oh my god, we're moving on.
Will Levis, maybe I'm a Will Levis.
We're moving on. Will for Levis your sake, Kyle.
Will Levis would hear me out regarding my garlic banana sauce. Tyree Wilson, Chicago at 9. Cool. Okay, here's what we need to talk about. If there's one pick we actually need to talk about from these first 10, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba at 10, because this does not bode well for me in the pick a wide receiver at 27 crowd. If arguably the best one who is probably going to go a lot higher than the rest. Still not great that he is gone at 10. Mike, is this concerning for us moving forward?
It's a little concerning because right now we're talking about realistically 2 guys that we would want at 27 in Flowers and Addison. Not saying that there aren't other targets the Bills would like in later rounds, like a Josh Downs or Tank Dell and so forth. But if you're wide receiver in round one, you're hoping that at least two of these guys can drop. Your odds just went down a little bit right there. And it's funny because Jackson Smith and Jigba, before the draft process even started, there was talk he could be a second rounder, and I was all on board. Please fall to the Bills. And as time's gone by, now you're talking about him as a top 10 pick, which is a crazy rise and more where he belongs.
Yeah. I think with JSN, I mean, I'd be a little surprised if the Eagles took him at 10. That seems, I mean, not that you can't have too many receivers, especially in today's NFL, but they've, obviously put a lot into A.J. Brown. They drafted Devontae Smith a couple of years ago. Dallas Goedert got a big contract from them recently. Like, they have weapons and they have enough in that overall skill group, but I don't know about him going there. I think, I don't think you'd see any Eagles fans complaining necessarily about taking Jackson Smith and Jigba at 10. But that's an odd pick for me. I don't necessarily see how accurate that is in the grand scheme of things, but you never know, especially in this draft.
Corbett has the most important comment of the chats thus far. I've had blueberry wings and they were delicious. A garlic banana sauce is well within the realm of possibilities. I wholeheartedly agree. One time I made a wajapi for chicken wings, which is just it's like a jam, if you will. It's really all a wajapi is a jam. It was good. Moving on. Moving on. We're going through the next 5 picks here. Okay, I'm just gonna let the 5 go, and we're gonna survive. There we go. Oh boy. Okay. At pick 11, the Tennessee Titans take Peter Skoronski, dinosaur arm boy. Right? His arms are like maybe a quarter, half of an inch too short, and he's a dinosaur. Okay. Houston takes Paris Johnson. Oh, they double up on Ohio State products. They get CJ Stroud, their franchise quarterback, and then they get a tackle from Ohio State to protect him. I like that. That's pretty fun. Green Bay, with their newly acquired 13th overall pick, takes Lucas Van Ness. Again, had difficulty staying on the field at Iowa, but when he was on the field, quite good. Miles Murphy to New England at 14. Okay. And then Darnell Wright at 15 to the Jets. Not great for us.
Yeah, that's quite the run on linemen, especially at tackle. Skoronski, this is definitely one of those guys that's sort of like pie in the sky, right? Where like if he does end up going to the Bills, it would be like, heck yeah, I think they would run that up immediately because Skoronski is definitely somebody that's like a Cromer type of guy. He spent some time with him at Northwestern's Pro Day. The offensive line coach at Northwestern is a Cromer guy. So I think there's a lot of dots sort of connecting there. Paris Johnson is just a total beast. I mean, both of those Ohio State tackles are fantastic. Lucas Van Ness, that does seem like a Green Bay type of pick, just like here's a toolsy edge guy. We'll see how it works out. And I mean, they did it a couple of years ago with Rashawn Gary, and he's actually turned out pretty well for them, all things considered. I don't know how much Lucas Van Ness would be in that same vein, but so be it. Miles Murphy actually seems like very much like a New England pick at edge, just very, very mid, very uninspiring, and just sort of like, okay, I guess this is what you're gonna do. And Darnell Wright to the Jets would greatly pain me for many reasons. I don't. Is that a pick they would make? I mean, it is an offense. I think they would take offensive line. I'm not. I don't know. I feel like in that style of offense, right, where you're doing a lot of running is going to be important there, especially with Breece Hall coming back from injury. And Darnell Wright's a good player. Do you feel like he's going to come in and plug right there at presumably right tackle and be the guy for them there? I don't know.
Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, my bad. Don't want to interrupt the host. My main takeaway is once you have Darnell right off the board at 15, I really think that really hurts the chances of Bills really getting an offensive tackle in the first round. Realistically, there's about 3 guys that I think they would consider. 2 of them are unrealistic to fall to 27. Darnell Wright is the guy that everybody, I think, early in the process thought could be a person that could fall to 27. If he's gone at 15, if he's gone before 20, I think it takes offensive tackle out of play for the Bills, at least in my opinion. The guys behind the top 3, I wouldn't value at this point for the Bills.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I'm not even, so much as concerned about the fit of Darnell Wright in New York. It's just more so like Darnell Wright is a guy who, like, recent hype kind of has him out of the Bills, realm of possibilities at 27. Like, he's probably going to be off the board by 27 in real life, and he is in this mock. But I agree. I don't know if we are going tackle in the in this draft.
That's fair.
He's an interesting prospect too, because as much as Bills fans would love to have a guy like Darnell Wright solidify the right side of the line, he does have his issues as well. He's a very poor run blocker, and that was throughout his college career. So is that something that would really change at the NFL level? Some advanced metrics say he's one of the worst run blocking first round prospects at tackle that has been around since 2015. He makes up for it with his ability for pass protection, which obviously is the main reason why the Bills would be interested in him, protecting Josh Allen, keeping him upright. But there would be some questions about Darnell Wright. Like I said earlier, it looked like a lock early in the draft process that he would be someone available to the Bills late in the first round. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Where is this comment that I am being? Here we go. Here you go, Cammy Poo. Please read. What do you think? They have a second round pick. If they move back and get a second and third, plus they have an extra third next year, maybe they could end up with 3 second round picks. Like, are we going to do that, or in general?
I'm confused by the question here.
Like, we have to wait and see how the board falls here. I am in theory open to the idea of trading back, but again, if Addison or Flowers, if one of them are there at 27, I am running to the podium in real life. Okay.
Fair enough.
Right. If Addison or Flowers are on the board at 27, I'm hacking into Brandon Bean's phone line. I am making the call myself to old Raj over there, and he'll be in where's
you gotta Kansas City.
Okay.
You gotta do the Mike Holmgren bit where, like, the first year of free agency or whatever, and he's in Green Bay and he decides to call up Reggie White and he just says, Reggie, this is God. I want you to go to Green Bay, and then just hang up the phone. Just gotta do that. Brandon, this is God. I want you to take Jordan Addison.
Yes, precisely. And again, right here, this is a good point. Everyone wants to trade back, but what happens if nobody wants to trade up? You need someone who wants to trade up. There needs to be players on the board that other people want.
And who's trading up in this draft?
Let's just roll through the next 5, and then we'll see if we are starting to talk about trading up. Maybe get Jordan Addison, or there's only one wide receiver gone thus far. Let's roll here through 20 and see where we are in 5 minutes. My heart's beating, guys. This is getting me going. I thought the green tea would calm me. That's why I had green tea today. I needed, I knew the chat was going to come at me. I needed the tea. It's not working. We're rolling through 5 here. So,
oh God,
you couldn't even let it finish to 20. Sorry, ripped out.
It's not going to happen in real life. Don't worry about it. He's not going that high in real life.
Just go. There we go.
Oh, man.
At 16, the Washington Commanders took Bijan Robinson. Cool. Nothing matters. The world is meaningless. Life is.
Do you want me to read
yes,
the rest of these out?
Please.
So at 17, these Pittsburgh Steelers take Deonte Banks, cornerback from Maryland. At pick 18, our beloved Jordan Addison is stolen by the Detroit Lions. At 19, the Bucks take Nolan Smith, the edge from Georgia, and at 20, the Seahawks take Broderick Jones, the tackle from Georgia, offensive tackle specifically.
This sucks. This sucks. Because, all right, so Njigba's gone. Jordan Addison is gone. I like the fit for Detroit. I like the idea of if Jameson Williams can ever play football ever, if, you know, his leg did recover. So, like, you know,
if only you deleted those gambling apps from your phone, man.
Right, which is a stupid rule. It's look, I hate sports betting. I think sports betting and the normalization of it is stupid. Well, that's a different conversation for another time. But you know, it's a stupid rule that Jameson Williams got in trouble for. But whatever. The idea of Jameson Williams and Jordan Addison is very fun. Should Detroit ever get a quarterback who isn't Jared Goff? I'm sorry, I'm not a Goff head.
Jeez.
Right. I would have very much liked Jordan Addison to be available even at 22, so I could pause the draft and convince everyone to trade up to 22 to get him. That's not going to happen. We weren't moving up, 9 spots to get him?
No.
So this is sad. Now this is a Zay Flowers or Quentin Johnston, you know, maybe Hive. I don't even necessarily want Quentin Johnston.
I'm not taking Quentin Johnston. I'm not no 33rd team looking big board with
second
Quentin
on
Johnston,
the big board.
second overall. Absolutely not. Ridiculous. Keep it rolling. Let's go. Let's see what's happening here.
And again, like you look at the teams here who, I mean, there are 4 teams.
Yeah,
there's teams that could realistically
there's
take
a
a
number
receiver.
of teams. Yeah.
Yeah, Flowers will be gone before 27.
Yeah. All right. Hit, let it roll, Kyle.
I'm going. I just need a minute here, David.
You had plenty of minutes.
You don't understand.
The draft rolls on. It's going to be like this on draft night.
Realist.
David, thank you. No, hold on. Leave that up there. Leave that up there. David the Realist. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew Phipps. Great picture, by the way. Love that game. Love that game. That's Josh Allen with the Thanksgiving plate after beating Dallas. Great picture.
All right, here we go. I'm just going to let it roll until either you guys know which one's going to happen first, but I'm letting it roll until either Flowers goes or we're on the clock. Okay.
Right.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Everything's going well. Everything's going really well. Everything's going really well.
Brutalized. Absolutely brutalized. All right. Scroll back up because I'll read these off while you recover, Kyle. All right. At 21, the Chargers take Joey Porter Jr., outside linebacker from Penn State. At 22, the Ravens take Emmanuel Forbes. Is that a cornerback from Mississippi State?
Yes.
Okay, cool. At 23, the Vikings take Quentin Johnston, wide receiver from TCU. At 24, the Jaguars take Brian Branch, safety from Alabama. At 25, the Giants take Kalijah Kancey from Pittsburgh. And at 26, ripping out all of our hearts, once again, the Dallas Cowboys take Zay Flowers from Boston College. The Bills are now on the clock at 27. Kyle, what are our options?
Die, cry, and find a reason
All right,
to live.
So let's start narrowing this down for a bit. Okay, so let's look at wide receiver, right? Because that's where we wanted to go initially, assuming the player we wanted was there. So who's available?
The only team, let's just say this: the only team that wants to trade down for people who inevitably people in the chat are going to say, trade down. The only place we could trade down to, if we want to keep it realistic, is to Pittsburgh at 32. They're the only team interested. So keep that in mind. If we're trading down, we're going to 32. Let's look at wide receivers here. Josh Downs.
We are big Josh Downs fans.
I'm a big Josh Downs fan, but is this too high? Doesn't matter.
All right. So not
Tank
a lot of
Dell.
great options.
Tank
No,
Dell. I'm not taking Tank Dell.
I'm not
especially
taking
at
chicken
27.
legs. I'm not taking chicken legs at 27. All right. It's not happening.
Jalen
I'm also
Hyatt.
not
I like.
not taking Mickey Mouse offense at 27 either.
You're a hater. You're a Jalen Hyatt hater.
I am a fake offense, and in particular Josh Heupel hater.
You got.
Wait, you hate Josh
Heupel
Heupel
fans for that.
Oh, David hates Josh Heupel.
He's the national championship winning head coach.
No, he's not.
Central Florida
he can convince himself that he is, but he's not.
They have a claimed national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them. I can claim a whole bunch of different things too, and I'm still going to be just as wrong as Josh Heupel is.
No, if I recognize it, then you do have it, and I do recognize the UCF national championship. So, yeah,
you know the guy that the AD at the time, Danny White, former UB AD. So if he says something, I'm going with it. I got to recognize it. So
exactly. And Cedric Tillman, again, there's good wide receivers here, none of whom I'm taking with the 27th overall pick in the draft. Let's look at defensive interior here. Where is that? There we go. Defensive interior. That's one. Mozzie Smith, Brian Brzee. No, thank you. No, thank you, Mr. Brzee. I could be talked into Mozzie Smith.
I like the idea of Mozzie Smith a lot. Again, I talked about this last week, where there's a very clear role for Mozzie Smith in the NFL, right? He is a big, strong nose tackle, and I would love to have that in this defense, especially when you consider Daquan Jones is 33 years old and not going to be under contract next year. I would love to have this guy be on this team and be a force for this team, but I don't know if that's necessarily what they're looking at. I don't know if this is necessarily this type of player, because even Daquan Jones can still get that sort of penetration and disruption in the backfield. He's not necessarily like setting and holding and getting that intensity at the point of attack. That's sort of what Mozzie Smith does. He is an occupier, hold those positions while that allows everyone else to flow and attack on defense. I don't necessarily see him with a ton of pass rush upside either. So you're taking somebody that is going to be a good floor, but the ceiling is a bit limited from what I've seen.
I'll be honest. I hate this spot right now for the Bills. And this is, I had this scenario on the show on Saturday morning with Kevin and Joe, and you want to get an impact player in the first round, but what do you really do in this situation? Darnell Wright was the last tackle that I really thought would be an instant contributor, first round grade talent. He's gone. The wide receivers that I considered first round talent are gone. So now you're kind of forced to think outside the box. Do you overreach on a Josh Downs at 27? Do you go linebacker and go a position of need because you're really not going to get that high upside player that you're thinking of? Or do you go outside the box and take best available at a position that's not of need? This is a tough spot. Mozzie Smith is the guy that a lot of Bills fans are going to bring up and who we took on Saturday in this spot. But ideally, you would hope to trade down, I think, in this scenario. You're praying someone gives you something worthwhile, and then you can double up in the second round, maybe go wide receiver and linebacker in round 2. But if you have to pick at 27, I don't really love any of these options, but Mozzie Smith would probably be one of the leaders in the clubhouse for me at this point.
I agree. And if in real life, if Pittsburgh is actually wanting to trade up to 27, I would be okay with that, because, I mean, the Bengals, the Saints, the Chiefs, and the Eagles are the teams that are next in between 27 and 32. So I'm kind of okay with just saying, like, look, we'll take a chance and assume that these teams aren't necessarily going after the players that we want, whether that's Jack Campbell or even Mozzie Smith could really genuinely be available at 32.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
I would do the trade.
That's what we're gonna do because there are going to be 5 picks between now and 32. At 32, I would be fine with taking Mozzie Smith, Josh Downs, Jack Campbell. You could talk me into Brian Bresee. Or Drew Sanders. Yeah, you can. There are a couple of players. There are more than 5 players, or at least 5 players I would be comfortable with taking.
Yeah.
At 32. So that's what we're gonna do. Now we just need good value. I don't have a trade calculator on me right now. What would be fair here? Just you guys, what do you guys think would be a fair ask here from Pittsburgh?
So you're moving back 4 spots. I would try to I don't know. I mean, maybe 241 and like a future 7th, like 2024 7th. That seems low, but it's still, you still get an extra pick this year, which rounds you out to an even 7, right? And then you get another 7th for next year, which they just like stockpiling. So are those later round picks to just sort of have a little bit of ammo to move up later. So I would be okay with that. I don't know how much more you can get out of that because I don't think you're getting 120 or but who's to say? I don't know. I have a very difficult time of gauging, exactly what it is that teams are willing to give up. Well, says he's got a chart. He's got a chart.
We are running out of time here before the clock is up because we went on the clock at 7:33. I do believe it is 7:41.
Well, we would probably have a little bit more time if you didn't spend 5 minutes mourning over flowers, but let's see. So if there's got to be something here.
I still want to hear more about the banana garlic sauce.
We don't need to discuss the banana garlic sauce until much later.
That's day 3 content. Yeah, that's day 3 content for sure.
Hey, good news about day 3. Me and Kev will be on for 4 straight hours. So
that's a very good point.
Talking about banana garlic sauce.
Cover 1.
All right. So he says 120 and the 7th. That still favors Pittsburgh.
All right, I could get a future 4 in this, but all right, let's just keep it realistic. All right, are we good with this, chat and David and Mike?
4 and a 6.
For 27, we received 32, 120, and a future 6. Are we good for that?
I like it.
I'm okay with it.
Enough, not enough. It doesn't really matter.
I like it.
Right, just in terms of like real life. Just know that we are trading down a couple spots, trade back for a 5th. No way. Okay, then how about that? The people don't like it. All right, what if I did 27 and 91, 27 and 130 for 32 and 80? How about that? Not fair.
I don't love it.
Okay.
Is 120 a 4th or a 5th? I feel like that's a 4th, isn't it? Am I doing math wrong?
I can have that answer for you in a second. It's a 4th. It's a 4th.
Yeah.
All right, so we get a 4th, and then we get an extra, a future. We're doing this. Let's just do it.
I'm totally okay. Yeah, let's just do it.
Because we ran out of time. Okay, we're slowing it down here. Pittsburgh now owns the 27th pick in the draft, and they take with the pick. That's a little too slow for my liking, actually. Michael Mayer. That's fine. We weren't taking Michael Mayer. I was not taking a tight end in the first round. That would have been a little bit silly, in my opinion. The Bengals now on the clock at pick 28. They take Brian Bresee. That's fine. That was one of my...
let him.
Right. That was not one of the players I necessarily wanted. Yeah. Guys, I think we made a great move because I am liking how this board is shaking. I did not like how the board shook out at 27. I'm liking how it's shaking out at 32.
Yeah, let's do it. Keep it rolling.
New Orleans, Osiris Torrance. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Right. We're alive. Osiris Torrance went 29 to New Orleans. Anton Harrison went to Oklahoma, he did go to Oklahoma, and he also went to Philadelphia at 30. And then Mozzie Smith. Don't love it. Right, both of the interior
stinks a little bit.
We'll figure it out though, because now we're loaded with draft picks, and also maybe we can get a Keanu Benton, or maybe we'll figure it out later. But now we have our options right at 32.
Mhm.
Dalton Kincaid.
It's standing out at 32 at this point.
Is.
I don't know how you don't go with that.
This is one of those like BPA. Like I didn't love Dalton Kincaid at 27. We didn't talk about it, but that would have been interesting at 32.
Look, Dalton Kincaid is a very good player and a very good tight end, but you're going to have to legitimately convince me that this team is actually going to run 12 personnel this year, and I'm not convinced of that at this point.
No, you're right.
And I would like for that to be the case, because I think
you're talking about a guy that could go in the top 15 talent-wise.
I'm with you. I agree with that. But we're talking about,
you can change things up. I mean, Ken Dorsey's former quarterback. He's thrown to tight ends in his life. I would hope that he could figure out a plan.
I think he has thrown to tight ends before, but based on how little he used Dawson Knox until like week 10 last year, I wasn't so sure about that for a while. So I don't know. I think that
it brings up an interesting dilemma. So you said Mozzie Smith was taking that last pick of the first round. So he's off the board right now. You got to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do we consider is Josh Downs still available?
Josh Downs is here. Josh Downs is
it's
probably
still be early. You could go after Campbell. You could go after Drew Sanders here. This is still tough because I don't think there's a set guy on the board.
Here's the thing. Here's the other thing, though. The one of the only positions where this draft is super deep and talented is at tight end. I love Dalton Kincaid and theoretically in this offense, but I mean, if you're not taking a linebacker in this round, whether that's Jack Campbell or whoever, and I think Jack Campbell is a good fit and could be somebody that they trust and want to start right away, I don't necessarily think you're getting that type of player or anything anywhere close to that later in this draft. Whereas at tight end, you're probably still getting some good, decent contributor at some other spot in this draft.
See, realistically, I would if I'm going to trade down, if I'm the Bills, I'm hoping somebody from like 38 to like 42 would give me a little bit more ammo to trade down. At 32 right now, you're still in that tough spot where you got a group of guys. You could honestly, in our hypothetical mock draft, still be okay with trading down once again and still getting someone that you want. Would you take Jack Campbell here? Do you take it or do you risk?
I would be okay with Campbell because you've gotten extra picks while trading down and still getting somebody that's going to start for your defense.
Here's my rationale.
But this is tempting. I personally would try to trade down one more time. I'm not saying it's realistic. I doubt that's realistic.
Right. Let's look at our options. But then I'm going to explain my rationale. As Roy Collins writes, 48 minutes in, it's still no Bills pick. Yeah. Okay. Here's my rationale. Okay. Interested teams include the Rams. They pick at 36. Packers at 42. Jets at 43. Commanders at 47. Jaguars at 56. Cowboys at 58. Chiefs at 63. Niners at 99. Realistically, we're looking at like Rams and Packers because I wouldn't allow a division rival to jump up and get who they want. And Commanders at 47, that's a little too steep. So again, it would be like Rams, and I'd be giving 32 and getting like 36, and then like 167, right? Like I don't want to load up on really day 3 picks. That's not what I'm looking to do, but that's an option. Here's what I'm thinking. I like what the chat's thinking. You guys all fired. We didn't make a pick yet, Sal. What are you talking? We haven't done anything. Like, come on. Give us time here. I'm working here, to quote Kevin Costner from Draft Day. Let me do my job. All right. People are selling me on Kincaid. Don't overthink this. Take Kincaid. Kincaid's the answer. Just market Kincaid as a wide receiver. So, and in regards to linebacker, which like I do still think we have another second round pick. We pick at 59.
Mm.
All three linebackers are still on the board. And I don't know about you guys. I like all three linebackers to some extent, right? They all obviously have their own strengths. And like, obviously, Jack Campbell and Drew Sanders are the more traditional fits for what Sean McDermott looks for out of a middle linebacker. But you could sell me on all three of them starting at middle linebacker for the Bills next year. So what I am open to doing, if you guys and the chat are fine with it, I say we take Kincaid here, let the board fall, and then once one of the linebackers go, we start considering trading up. Once the other one goes, then we trade up until we can get the third one.
I like that. I like it.
Let's take Kincaid.
All right. Nathan writes no. Okay. Well, then we're not doing it. All right. Guys, sorry. This is just when we entered this draft, had you told me we are taking a tight end with our first pick in the draft, I would have been like, LOL, we are not. But I just think how the board fell, Dalton Kincaid, even with the injury history, whatever. Dalton Kincaid, too intriguing, too talented of a player to pass up at 32. So that's what we're going to do. With the 32nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Dalton Kincaid, offensive weapon, Utah. That's how we're marketing it, boys.
That's right.
I don't know.
Dave doesn't look too happy right now.
I'm fine with it. I just don't see it as a, this is just my realism brain being like, they don't use 12 personnel. But,
I will say this. I think we always talk about best player available.
Mm-hmm.
But we're always fighting that contradiction of we always want the best player available, but we truly don't want the best player available. We want the guy that fits what we want.
Yeah.
So in this case, Dalton Kincaid truly is by far the best player on the board.
Absolutely.
Roy Collins writes, I guess we just wasted $14 million on Knox. I would argue they wasted $14 million on Knox a couple of months ago when they signed Austin Knox to an extension. Okay. Kincaid can't block worth shit for a tight end. He's an offensive weapon. You just drafted essentially a wide receiver. Like, okay. We're moving forward here. We're letting the board fall, like I said, and then we're going to move up for a linebacker, and then the chat's going to be back on our side. That's what we're waiting for. I really should have rationed this green tea better because I could use the Zen right now. Here we go. Arizona takes John Michael Schmitz. Good pick for them. I like John Michael Schmitz. But again, given kind of how the offseason has gone for the Bills, I don't know if he's really in play. Indy takes Will McDonald. Cool. LA takes DeJuan Jones. Good pick for the Rams. None of the linebackers are gone yet. Very cool. Jalen Hyatt goes to Seattle. Didn't they? How many? They took Devin Witherspoon, and then they also took Broderick Jones. Okay. Jalen Hyatt at 37 there for Seattle. Fun pick. Fun player. Mickey Mouse offense, as David says.
Moving on.
Oakland takes Jesus. Las Vegas takes Cam Smith. I could soon make that mistake with their baseball team as well.
That's
Carolina takes Darnell Washington. Guys, we might not even have to trade up, and now both linebackers are going to go back to back.
Let it roll. Let it roll, Kyle.
New Orleans takes Keely Ringo. Tennessee takes Jahmyr Gibbs. Fun, weird, but fun. I would get a Jahmyr Gibbs Oilers jersey. Absolutely. Green Bay at 42 takes Hendon Hooker.
Oh, I want that to happen so bad. I want that to happen so bad.
Awesome.
Oh, if that happens, I'm doing day 2 coverage for this live stream. If this happens, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Oh my god. Oh, I want that to happen so bad.
Jets at 43. They take Jack Campbell. First linebacker is gone, and it's Jack Campbell.
Of course, it's to the Jets.
Of course, it's to the Jets. Of course, it's to the Jets. Why not? Okay. Yeah, no, we don't have to worry about trading up yet because Drew Sanders is still there. Trenton Simpson is still there. But yeah, we're gonna just let it roll here. One more pick. One by one. Josh Downs goes to the Falcons at 44. About probably that. Yeah, right. That's I'd have gotten to pair with Will Levis over there in Atlanta.
That's right.
With Kyle Pitts and
Drake London, Jonnu Smith. That's a team.
That'd be a team IRL. But no, that's fun. That's about fair value. Just sucks. I would have liked Josh Downs, but whatever. Green Bay at 45 takes Drew Sanders. All right. Okay, now we start trading up for Trenton Simpson. Now this is where we start making phone calls. Did New England take a linebacker? No, they took
an edge. They took
Miles Murphy. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they a linebacker? No, they're not a Trenton Simpson team. They don't like athletic linebackers. So.
Very true.
Do we try to trade up with New England or just say that's not realistic?
I would probably try and I was about to say we could try and trade with Washington, but I don't know how much Brandon Beane's willing to do that after last year's J.D. McKissick mishap.
You're right.
So I think your best shot is going to be with Detroit.
Simpson will go down.
Right. No, I don't know if see again that he's one who today doing these mocks. It's been like, sometimes he's there at 59. Sometimes he goes in this range, in this mid 40 range. And again, I don't hate the idea of not getting a linebacker this round. I don't hate that idea, but I want to get Simpson. I like Simpson, but like
you're secretly hoping as a Cam Jones truther that you can get him in like the 4th round or something like that.
People are saying don't trade up for Simpson. Okay, yeah. If we're being realistic, right? We already got Dalton Kincaid at 32, so kind of realism might not be on the board. So do you want to just run New England and Washington, and then we'll have another discussion about trading up at 48?
Yeah, let's just let it roll for now.
We're letting it roll. Oh boy,
there you go. Trenton Simpson to Washington. Is that real? Who am I kidding? No,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna let it roll now until we're on the clock, right? Yeah. Is there anyone who we can think about trading up for theoretically?
Nah, no one I'm interested in.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay, there are obviously names of note coming off the board here. I'll just run through at the end. Here we go. Yeah, Trenton Simpson obviously went to Washington. Joe Tittman to Detroit at 48. Cody Mach to Pittsburgh. Steve Avila to Tampa. BJ Ojulari to Miami. Keanu Benton to Seattle. Julius Brents to Chicago. I'm not pronouncing that. To LA. Luke Musgrave to Detroit. DJ Turner to Jacksonville. Antonio Johnson to New York. Matthew Bergeron to Dallas. Let's just go Sam Laporta, best player on the board.
I just want to say Dallas is just screwing over.
Right. I was so just thinking the same thing.
Like, I haven't been trading up because I'm like, just one pick away. And 26, Zay Flowers, gone. And then I was just thinking Matt Bergeron, and then boom. That's the difference from this mock draft looking really good to everybody in the chat, in this mock draft looking like the craziest cluster of picks that we've ever made.
Yeah. It's not great. Don't love it.
There's really only 2 guys who I'm even considering here, maybe 3 if we want to count Cedric Tillman. I don't want to take a receiver. I don't want to take Cedric Tillman at 59.
Dalen Henley?
Yeah.
Is that even how you say his name?
Dion. Yeah, Dion Henley. I don't hate this idea. I don't hate the idea necessarily. Don't love it either. Luke Whippler.
Where are we looking for defensive line here?
Is Ika available?
I believe so.
Ooh. Siaki Ika.
Baylor. There's obviously the connection there with McDermott and Aranda. Sort of similar in that Mozzie Smith kind of role where he's just going to be this big, swallowing nose tackle, but I don't know. I'd be okay with Ika.
This draft is an F already. We've made one draft pick.
I will ask you guys this. Hypothetically, knowing what we know, hindsight, would you have taken Jack Campbell at 32 and then maybe taken a wide receiver or a D lineman here now in hindsight?
I was okay taking Jack
Campbell. I know you were,
but I mean, with
hindsight.
No, I mean, I just would have traded up instead. Like, look, regardless of how the rest of the board felt, we got a top 15 talent at 32, right? And like, obviously, he's a tight end, right? That's what he's going to be listed at. But like, look, he's going to be a pass catcher, right? We got Josh Allen, another weapon, is what we did. Which like I don't think is a bad move in general. I just would have, again, I would have been more aggressive in trading up, which was my initial strategy. But okay, I'm not taking Tank Dell. It's not happening. No, I like the player. I like the player. I don't necessarily like the fit. I don't like him for my team. Yeah, Luke Whippler makes sense.
I'd be okay with Whippler. Get you some depth on the offensive line and, somebody that can potentially start at center in the future if/when Mitch Morse is done.
Kincaid ain't top 15. He Mike Gesicki. Would you not take Mike Gesicki in this offense? Would you not take Mike Gesicki for Josh Allen? Like, interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, I think we're going to do either. Are we just doing Whippler and moving on?
I'm okay with it.
I have no preference right now.
This is the most uninspiring mock draft maybe ever.
I will say this too. Like, for the people that are all wanted a wide receiver, if you are adding a guy like Dalton Kincaid, he's going to have just as big of an impact in the receiving game as most slot receivers that you'd be adding regardless. It's just like you said, Kyle, tight end label, people get obsessed with that. Dalton Kincaid is a playmaker, pure and simple.
Mm-hmm.
He would have a role on the Bills if this unlikely scenario ever did play out.
Right, you would find a role for Dalton Kincaid. So now we are.
I say just take Whippler and let's move on.
But what about Henley?
I don't care enough about a 220-pound linebacker to take him at 59.
And also, chat, we are going to take a wide receiver.
Maybe.
I agree, though. Really bad draft strategy. No, Keanu.
We could restart, but the problem is we're an hour and 3 minutes.
We're not restarting.
We're about to make. Yeah, we're not restarting. We're about to make our second pick after an hour.
This is an exercise in the heartache that the draft can cause. Okay, that's what everyone needs to know. And Henley goes, Derek Hall goes, Cedric Tillman goes, Sam Laporta goes. Okay. All right, round 3, guys who I want. Look, linebacker's kind of weird. I'd go Overshown in the 3rd round, maybe. You can talk me into Jaden Reed in round 3. You can talk me into Marvin Mims. Maybe trade up for Marvin Mims. I don't want to trade up for Marvin Mims. Actually.
I'm not trading up for a wide receiver.
You guys are crazy. I'm telling you. You guys are this chat. I need more tea. This chat is insane. Okay. We're moving forward here. Let's just let it run here through pick 70, and then I will read through. You know what? No, I know what we're doing here with our next pick.
Do you?
Yes, I know exactly what we're doing. We're going to take the Alabama linebacker. Is exactly what we're going to do when we go back.
2020?
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Do you just like it because his name is 2020?
Yes. That's what we're going to do. Tyreek Stevenson, nice pick there for Houston's
like
having a nice
Stevenson.
draft there in round 3.
Yeah.
Zach Charbonnet goes, and again, I saw someone say Charbonnet. The Bills have James Cook, Damian Harris, and Nyheim Hines. You're not taking a running back when we were on the board at 59. We were not doing that. Gervin Dexter to Denver. Siaki Ika goes to Vegas. Let's let it roll here. Jonathan Mingo, cool pick. Tyler Scott, Zach Pickens, Clark Phillips. Nothing crazy happening here.
Yeah.
Hyatt's been gone for rounds here.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is incredible. This is great stuff. Okay, we're coming right up here on pick 91. Board's falling well. We got Mims still available. We got Reed still available. Reed might be a little high in round 3, but Overshown, Alabama linebacker with a fun name. Marvin Mims just went. Very cool. Thank you, Detroit. Thanks, Detroit. Why not? Take both the wide receivers. Very cool. Why not? Tampa takes Tucker Kraft. Seattle takes Nick Herbig. Miami takes Jalen Duncan. And DeMarvion Overshown goes. Okay. Fun. Baltimore takes the Tank Dell. Nope, didn't want him. Minnesota takes Tank Bigsby. Fun. Jackson, let's just let it roll here. Jordan Battle, Zach Harrison. Chandler Zavala. All right. Michael Wilson's on the board. Michael Wilson, good player. Is a good player. Before the chat says no, Michael Wilson is a good player. Tajay Spears, good player. We're not taking him though. Moro Ojomo, again, fun player for a interior defender. Don't hate it. Roshan Johnson, don't necessarily hate it. How far down is Jaden Reed? Jeez,
That's absurd.
He's at 122.
That's ridiculous.
They're going to grade it so lowly when we take Jaden Reed right now, but David, tell us on Jaden Reed.
Look, Jaden Reed is a very good player. He's a very shifty route runner. Played a lot of boundary for Michigan State, even though he's built much more like a slot receiver. And they threw him a lot of like go balls and fade balls, and he won a lot more than you would expect him to win in those situations. So I think putting him in the correct position in the slot, allowing him to just sort of eat in that over the middle area. Plus he can return punts. He's just super tough, super smart. I think, and much more athletic than I think you would expect. I'm totally okay with taking Jaden Reed here, but also we took Dalton Kincaid to kind of fill that type of role. So it's hard for me to really push for a wide receiver in round 3.
What about Jaden Kobe Reed? Turner?
I don't know. This is I don't know what to do with this.
Guys, actually this draft isn't bad. This draft isn't terrible. I would not hate Kobe Turner here, right? Because look, the Bills do not have many defensive tackles under contract for 2024. Sure. They kind of do need to invest at the position long term. Kobe Turner's a dude, maybe not as big as you'd like, but a guy who can come in and be a rotational 3-tech straight away, and then assuming that he can develop, kind of take over for Ed Oliver, because I don't know if Ed Oliver is factoring into the long-term plan here. Mike, how do you feel about Kobe Turner here?
I'm not against it. It makes sense. Like you guys said, Bills will have some questions going forward with D-line, and it never hurts to have a little bit of extra depth going forward.
Yeah.
At this spot, 3rd round, 91 overall, you're getting value for the pick as well. So it makes sense to me. I would definitely be okay with it.
All right. Yeah, no, Kobe Turner makes a lot of sense here at pick 91. And then we're on the board again at pick 120. And that's where we can talk about whether it be a Michael Wilson or a he's not going to be there knowing our draft luck. Jaden Reed might be there. Marte Mapu, Andrew Voorhees. We can have some interesting discussions there at 120. So yeah, let's just get Kobe Turner selected here.
And if you get Turner, really, when you think about it, you did address getting an offensive weapon now in Kincaid. Really, the spot where the Bills got grilled in this mock draft is the second round, all the linebackers being taken at that point. Realistically, we make a trade a little bit more aggressive. This would end up being a pretty good draft at this point.
Phil's Mafia writes, another Wake Forest D lineman. You love it. You love to see it.
It's like the USC quarterbacks. Don't get any California quarterbacks in Buffalo.
Carlos Basham being a non-factor means all the rest stink. Okay. Moving on here. Jaden Regis went. That's why I paused, by the way. That's why I paused.
Panthers get a good one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he would have been nice. Would have been really fun. Let's just go here through the end of round 4. Wanye Morris went. That'd been fun. Henry, how do you pronounce it?
Tuo, something like that.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. All right. So we have taken entering here. We're through day 2 is where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken Dalton Kincaid, Luke Whippler. We got a long-term center because Mitch Morse. Those concussions. That's all I have to say. And then Kobe Turner. You get a impact rotational 3-tech. Which they do not have. And don't say Jordan Phillips, because Jordan Phillips, again, when he can stay healthy, is impactful. He just re-signed on a 1-year deal. But again, is he going to stay on the field? Hasn't been able to in recent years. So I like that. And again, Kobe Turner, much younger. You actually have him under contract for more than a season. Very cool. So yes. Are anyone we're interested in? Are we interested in moving around at all? Or is it just kind of wait and see what happens?
I'm cool with just waiting and see what happens, because we got 120, 130, and 137. Let's just let it roll and see what comes.
Okay. A.T. Perry, fun player. Michael Wilson goes. Yaya Diaby, Carl Brooks, J.L. Skinner. J.L. Skinner would have been fun, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, and nothing matters. Luke Studebaker, Zach Evans. Okay, that's fine. We're at 120 here. This is the pick we had acquired from trading down from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anyone here sticking out to us?
Immediately. Where is... How do we feel about Noah Sewell from Oregon at linebacker?
I don't...
Is that a...
I can pull up his stuff, and then you can tell me how you feel about him. Do you have an opinion on him already, or no?
I don't. I remember him being somebody that some people were excited about before the season started. I have not seen that same excitement since the season started, so I don't know exactly what the feeling is for someone like him. Do we have a height, weight, speed sort of look, Kyle?
Yes.
There we go. 6'1", 246. It's an interesting combination. I don't know. And it's I don't love this. I don't love this.
All right, guys, hear me out. He's not even listed at linebacker. He's listed at safety. Marte Mapu, Sacramento State. Bills had him in on a, I think he was a top 30 visit. Not that necessarily means anything, but maybe it does. For this particular narrative, it does. Again, 6'3", 216. You don't love it, but also he went to Sacramento State, right? And as I say about every prospect regarding weight, look, a player not being the weight at which the Buffalo Bills want him to play hasn't stopped them from taking a player before, AJ Epinesa, and get him to sniff an order of chicken wings when he's up to 230 easily. So, 6'3" projects more as like a weak side linebacker, but again, Tremaine Edmonds projected as more of a weak side linebacker. So, is this a dude who you look at and you trust your ability to get something out of him?
Maybe.
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine, especially with some of these lower level prospects. They're obviously seeing something in him that brought him in for a visit to talk to him. But especially at the lower level, is it something athleticism related? Is it something they saw on tape? Your guesses are as good as mine here.
man, this is just not the best board, is it? This draft really does suck, doesn't it? It's just this whole draft class as a whole. Just
I mean,
Right,
I know a lot of people have been talking about Ivan Pace Jr. as a guy in the later rounds. I don't know if that's somebody you would consider here in the 4th round. You're not going to get starting caliber players that are going to slot right into your starting lineup here. So right now, you're more so looking for attributes or guys that you can at least develop or maybe get some special teams value as well. So
then that now I, with that in mind, now I am kind of leaning towards Mapu in that case, because I mean, bare minimum, you're getting that special teams ability, I would think. This team likes their safeties and DBs, and I mean, there are no other. I mean, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are not going to be on this team next year with their contracts the way that they're built. Taylor Rapp, you kind of assume that he'll be signed long term after this season because of the way that he talked about his future potentially in Buffalo. I don't know. I'm okay with taking Mapu here. I think that feels like a very Bills type of pick at this spot.
That would be possibility. And also, we're getting close to the point with how we brought in the extra 4th round pick through the mock draft trade. You could always take Andrew Voorhees in the 4th round as well and use him as a stash player for developmental purposes at some point in time. If you truly believe that he is someone that you can grow into a starting guard at some point.
I probably believe in their ability to coach up someone like Mapu versus them sort of trying to make Andrew Voorhees into someone that I don't think he's going to be.
That's fair.
I think we're doing Mapu, boys. Do I love any of the receivers right now?
Parker Washington is interesting here.
Right, we're on the board. We're on the board again in 10 picks. Okay,
that's sure.
Okay, if we can get a Mapu Washington 4th round here.
One wide receiver I do like. I'm not saying for the Bills to necessarily take him, but I do like Charlie Jones out of Purdue.
I was thinking the same thing.
He's a burner who really never had a chance to stand out when he was at Iowa, because we all know Iowa just doesn't like to run a modern day offense. But at Purdue, he was dynamic, explosive. Be interesting to see how he translates to the NFL.
Charlie Jones, is this the dude?
Former UB receiver.
I was going to say, did he start at UB?
Started at UB, was there for 2 years, then went to Iowa for 2 years, and then finished out at Purdue.
Interesting.
All right, we're gonna take Mapu and then wait and see how it falls. We have our pick of the receivers there at 130. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Everything's coming up Millhouse. We killed it, boys. We killed it, and we're gonna take Parker Washington at 130. I think this is going on, unless we do want Charlie Jones. Is there anything else?
No, I don't need to have Charlie Jones. I just like Charlie Jones. You take who you want.
Because we're at 137 again. We can do
wide receivers.
Do we take a linebacker? Or are we gonna get someone?
We took Mapu.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're
right. I'm so sorry.
You're good. No, because they listed him at safety for some reason, but no, he's a linebacker. At least that's where we're playing him. So this guy, this CD So, great name. I'm intrigued by him. Maybe at 137 because Chris Seth at Low Buffa on Twitter. I don't know if the article's out yet, but I have edited it and scheduled it. So if it's not out yet, it will be out tomorrow. Has been looking at relative athletic size or relative athletic score and pre-draft measurables for all of the prospects in this year's draft. And he also went back and tracked all of the pre-draft measurables for every player the Bills have rostered since Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have taken over. So, again, this took a bunch of work, but it is a good indication of the type of measurables that the Bills do look for in players. When and obviously it's not, foolproof, if you will. Like there's obviously some deviations that they've taken along the way, but this CD So guy out of Eastern Michigan, Mac guy, Mike, this is a guy who scored pretty well in what at Low Buffa is calling bra size, Bill's relative athletic score. So yeah, he's been calling it bra size, and this dude scored pretty well. So what I say we do is take Parker Washington, and then we take one of So or maybe Voorhees at 137. You guys good with that?
I'm okay with that.
I'm generally okay with it. My only objection is that my first ex went to Eastern Michigan, so there are just some unresolved feelings there about that, but I'm sure I'll learn to get over it.
F plus. Thank you for the plus. We're in round 5 now and no linebacker. We took a linebacker. That's all I have to say is we took a linebacker. Yeah, we're going Parker Washington here at
Parker Washington.
People are saying PFF's going to give us an F, which
it needs to level out because I did one on Saturday and got an A-. So it has to balance.
Perfectly balanced.
We took their 10th ranked player at 32. I think that kind of saves us from F territory.
Yeah.
All right. Should I take Ivan Pace Jr. just so I get,
get a good grade,
Right. Yeah. Is that what we're going
for the simulator score? You gotta go with your heart though.
I'd much rather take this CD So character than Ivan Pace. I'm not a linebacker under 6 feet in this economy.
I'm all about the Maxions, so you gotta go with it.
Who is the linebacker that I saw on the 33rd team's big board? This guy who's 5'7", Carlton Marshall. Oh, they gave him 2 inches. 5'7" linebacker. I love it. We love our short kings. I think we should. I think we take him actually. No. No.
All right, wait. Go back to linebackers. I'm not going to bring this up to pick right now, but there is a guy that I think could be go down. There we go. Ben Van Summeren from Michigan State. So this is somebody who bring up. Let me see. Let's get the profile going. Thank you. 6'3", 240. If you look at his spider chart for mock draftable, he tested very, very well. It's to play right away. This is definitely a project type of guy, but there are some things with Van Summeren, especially from a physical athletic profile, that I think could be really interesting. I'm not saying take him right now because I wouldn't. But in terms of a potential sleeper guy at linebacker, I think this is something that should be in the minds of Bills fans.
I'm trying to pull up the bra size thing. This is great. I want somebody from Cover One to watch this show right now. I want Eric or someone to tune in and hear me saying, "Yeah, I'm looking up bra sizes. Give me a second." That's all I want, because I want to not only shout out at Low Buffa's work, but also just to give you guys some indication here. The article's not out yet, so I actually do have to log in and look. So yes, the bra sizes, the higher the better. Obviously, that's how it
obviously
works. This CD So character out of Eastern Michigan scored a 12, which is the second highest out of all guards. Second only to Anthony Bradford. So that's not obviously to say that the Bills are going to take him. Obviously, there's some deviation. But again, just the value seems right. And he is a developmental guard. And, he is a profile that the Bills have targeted before. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna speed up the draft a little bit. We have one more draft pick 205. I'm sure we'll make a fun pick with it. So let's talk about garlic banana sauce, guys.
Oh my god.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't think
think
you
it can work.
understand. No, we're not entertaining.
What
this
about
idea.
garlic banana ice cream?
my
I'm not a fan of banana ice cream. Garlic ice cream, you can sell me on garlic ice cream. Banana ice cream is where I'm going to draw the line there.
Y'all are absolutely cracked. Wait, no.
Now,
Oh my God.
this is the point in the podcast where you're going to
Yes.
question me as
My
a
thing
Yes.
is, if you're okay with cinnamon banana stuff. I mean, a lot of people like cinnamon
What the
banana.
The cinnamon and garlic are entirely different things.
They are. I put
Entirely
cinnamon in
different
my
flavor
coffee.
profiles. That's because cinnamon is delicious, and so is garlic. Don't get me wrong, but like cinnamon goes with like almost anything.
Cinnamon's
Don't
great.
hate it until you try it.
I will hate it, and I will not try it. This is I don't need to try everything to just be like, oh yeah, I don't like this.
Do we want to go
Garlic
backup
banana's
quarterback
probably
at
better than this
205?
draft.
Do we want to go backup quarterback at 205? Do we have any interest in that? What do we want to do at 205? Good stuff. Look, do we just do what everyone does because it's a cliche for a reason and take Brandon Hill? Is that what we do?
Is Pittsburgh DP? Geez, I don't know. I'm if we're picking, which like is what we're doing here. What?
Do you want to do Max Duggan?
Oh my gosh.
I think we do Max Duggan. I think Max Duggan would be a lot of fun. How about another tight end?
13 personnel offense. Let's do it.
Cam Jones went. There's a dude named Bumper Pool. That's a lot of fun.
Yes, there is.
Ronnie Bell. Okay, interesting. Justin Shorter. Don't hate Justin Shorter here.
We already took a wide receiver and a largely receiving tight end.
Yes,
I'm not adding yet another receiving option.
All right, then talk me out of Max Duggan.
Stetson Bennett is probably better. If you want to go QB.
Taiwan Mullen. You can never have too many Taiwans. Oh, they don't even have a Taiwan right now.
That's right. They don't have. There's no Taiwan on the Bills right now.
Connor writes, Raheem Jarrett, Diggs likes him. Okay, well, there you have it. Make Diggs happy. He'd be a lot. Yeah, that's what we need. Okay. So yeah, let's just take Brandon Hill because it's the easy pick, and that's what everyone does. And it makes a lot of sense, and it's probably what's going to happen in real life. Okay, let's just turbo our way through this so we can get out of here. Look. I don't think it's a terrible draft. Honestly, like in the actual, like, as it was going on, obviously we got a little dicey there because we were talking about things that we wanted to happen and then they wouldn't happen at the last minute. Looking back on it, are there better drafts? Yes. Is this a bad draft? I don't necessarily think this is a bad draft.
Look at that grade.
We got a B plus.
Fuck
it, you haters.
They can all go. Listen, I can't say. Dude, that's a pretty good grade for these too.
Let's talk about our rationale again. So we got to 27, traded down with the one team that was interested, got down to 32, took Dalton Kincaid. Again, objectively good player. Will objectively help this offense. No, that was terrible. Like, really terrible. We took Dalton Kincaid with the 32nd pick in the draft. Didn't get a starter.
That's debatable.
That's debatable. That's debatable. Debatable. You got Dalton.
Also,
Kincaid.
how many starters does this team need?
Well, that's the thing, David, is context doesn't matter.
That's right.
So again, you get an offensive weapon in Dalton Kincaid. You get a long-term center to take over for Mitch Morse when he ultimately retires at pick 59 there. And again, you can make the argument like, do you need to take is that a pick you need to make? Maybe not, but we did. Kobe Turner, again, you get a rotational 3-tech there in the third round. I think that's good value. Marte Mapu there in round 4, top 30 visit, a guy who, you could theoretically kind of develop along at middle linebacker if you want to, or, you could develop them along at weak side linebacker. Parker Washington, another offensive weapon, developmental wide receiver. C.D. So, a developmental guard who you are picking up, fits the Bills profile, what they want. And then Brandon Hill, they like their pit DBs. So that makes sense. I think that we did an okay job. What do you guys think?
It's according to Black Panther 1, it's not a terrible draft. It's just horrible. F+. You know what? I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It's not the draft I entered tonight envisioning us having. It's not something that I'm really hoping for. But I'm not going to say I'm pissed off at the draft. Like, it could have gone a lot smoother, maybe.
Mm-hmm. There's a scenario where this draft works really well, and it largely is going to hinge on that first pick of Dalton Kincaid and them deciding to actually run 12 personnel as sort of their base style of offense, right? But, I don't know how realistic that is. But that's just my opinion.
Will this draft ever come to fruition? 0% chance. Like, this is not based in any type of reality that we will see on Thursday. But if the scenario came to where the 3 wide receivers the Bills wanted are gone at 27, the offensive tackles the Bills want are gone at 27, and you are down to picking Mozzie Smith or going after some of these linebackers late in the first round, in hindsight, we could all say, well, go secure your starting linebacker, Jack Campbell, Drew Sanders, Trenton Simpson, and maybe the Bills will do that. But I think there's a scenario where they could still land someone else in the first round and get their linebacker in the second round. I think the scenario that makes the most sense is take the best person out of O-tackle, wide receiver, D-line at 27, and then get your linebacker to round 2. If you have to trade up in round 2, do that. The only part where we really messed up in this draft was that we didn't trade up in round 2.
Yeah, that's really if you replaced Luke Whippler with trading up and getting Jack Campbell or whoever, that I would feel a lot more comfortable with this overall. But such is life, and trading in particular. Like, look, these mock draft simulators are very wonky anyway. Trading in mock draft simulators, very just like all over the place. Like, good luck with that.
Can we repeat? Like, we were 1 pick away in the first and second round from having Zay Flowers and Matt Bergeron,
which would have been awesome.
We'd be giving ourselves an A right now. So
yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of randomness in these mock draft simulators, as you said, and we kind of got burnt by it today because we were being patient. We tried to be rational thinking people, and it burnt us.
As it usually does. But yeah, as you said, Mike, just this is not a draft that I thought we were going to have. This isn't a draft that I necessarily want, right? Like, I very much want Jordan Addison, right? I am very much team wide receiver, right? Again, had you told me at the top of the draft, you're not taking a wide receiver until pick 130, I would have been like, huh? Like, what happened? A lot happened. We went through a lot with each other here in these last 1 hour and 33 minutes. But again, all things considered, maybe we didn't make every pick perfectly, but I think we made pretty solid selections. And again,
and you know what ultimately it's a mock draft. And the reason why it's a mock draft is because none of us are ever actually making these picks in real life. And thank God for that, because I think I would lose my mind if I ever had to do this in real life.
Just think about the chat. They wanted us fired in this figurative.
Before we made a pick.
Yeah, we took 50 minutes to get to the first, 40 minutes to get to the first Bills pick today.
Yep, Ralph Wilson writes, you waited for the draft to come to you, and it did. Then it punched you in the head. That's exactly what happened. It slapped us in the face. Instead of taking players, y'all decided to go by projections.
Welcome to the draft.
Yeah, welcome to the.
I do have a response to that too. Let's not act like that's not what general managers are doing most of the time too. In the first round, you're not. Most of the time, Brandon Beane is going to go after what he thinks is a first round talent. He's not going to pick someone in the first round that he has a late second round grade on just because he needs a linebacker. He's trying to find somebody that's going to help his team 3-4 years down the line. We're not drafting based on 2023 needs specifically. We are trying to draft a team that will have long-term sustainable success. So I always bring up the James Cook example. Brandon Beane knew that James Cook was not a first-round talent last year, and he knew that he wasn't an early second-round talent. That's why he traded back twice before selecting him, and ultimately then, probably even there, taking him a little bit early. That's my biggest reason why I don't think linebacker is going to be in play in the first round. He will try to emphasize everything before taking a Campbell, a Simpson, or a Drew Sanders at 27, in my opinion.
A+ draft. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Cover One YouTube channel. The subscribe button is somewhere down there. Make sure to subscribe to all the iTunes feeds, please. Leave 5-star reviews on all of them. And again, check out all of the great draft content that we have coming out this week. We have this podcast here on Monday. We also have the Air Raid Hour starting in 20 minutes. Oh, it is 8:36. Jesus. That's starting in 20 minutes. And have a good show tonight. You got Going Deep on Tuesdays. You got the Film Room. You got Disguised Coverage. You've got Cover One Buffalo. You got If the Walls Could Talk in Buffalo. You got Late Night Buffalo. A lot of Buffalo themed shows here on the Cover One YouTube channel.
Crazy, right?
Crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, we also have a new weekend show. So check out all of that great content. Also, please check out cover1.football. Again, that is our website in which we are putting out a bunch of great written content. I shouted it out earlier. We just, the guys are working really hard. It's a lot of editing, but it's a lot of fun. It's all worth it because, again, the content is great over there. So check all of that out. Also, if you'd like to, I guess, contribute, become an insider if you'd be so inclined. $57 a year, and you get some of that exclusive content on the website. We have some free, some free articles here leading up to the draft. Also have some stuff behind a paywall, which it's all good. So again, you also get in-depth analysis, scheme breakdowns, player breakdowns, some exclusive video content, access to the Cover One Premium Slack, all for $57 a year. What a value. Become an insider today. Also, check out Underdog Fantasy and BetUS. Again, use promo codes Cover1. Make sure to follow David on Twitter at.
You can follow me at DFAUXY or at DFoxy. Mike, where can the people find you on the old Elon app?
You guys can find me at Mike_Bundt. Always tweeting out about the Bills and some Sabres talk in there as well if you like all the rest of the Buffalo sports.
You can find me on Twitter at Kyle Silagyi and avoiding these comments. These comments did a number on me today. So I'm gonna X out and never look at them again. So thank you all commenters. You're all appreciated. I love each and every one of you. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.